Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Weekend Wellness Workshop. I'm Dr. Dennis Courtney with you today on a Saturday morning. Today we're talking about a newly launched program here out of the Courtney Medical Wellness Center, referred to as ReGenesis. Now, men, if you're feeling lousy and you don't know what to do about it, and your doctor's equally oblivious to your complaints, you'll want to pay close attention today on how you can regain and recapture that vitality for life that you once had. Our guest to help us along this pathway is an expert in the field, both personally as well as being able to guide others. He works very closely with me. His name is Mr. Matt Cestra. We're going to be talking to Matt today about how it is that you can start to recapture that which you thought was lost forever, but is just hanging around to be re-stimulated and brought back to life. I want to say good morning to our guest right now. I say good morning, Matt. Hello and welcome aboard. How are you doing today?
Good. Good morning, Dr. Courtney. Thanks for having me on.
Oh, Matt, this was timed and well overdue. We really want to bring a strong message to our men. I opened up my show by saying that today is really for men only, and it really is. I think there's a impression out there that women can go and have their issues heard by a whole host of professionals, but when men have these complaints, I don't really think they know what to do about them. We hope to be able to enlighten them today on what some of those complaints may be, and then in the course of that discussion, show them that there's a bright light in this tunnel to lead them out into the open air once again and breathe that fresh air.
Yeah, and I think that, it certainly affects the women in their life just as much as it affects the men.
Well, let's talk a little about you for a second, Matt. Maybe give our listeners an idea about yourself personally and how it is that you become so involved. First, I guess, from a viewpoint as a patient and now as a guide to those that want to get back into the light of day again. Let's hear about the Matt Cestra story. How'd that work out?
Okay, so professionally, I've been in the pharmaceutical industry for about 20 years.
Yes?
Yeah, so I've been in the pharmaceutical industry for about 20 years, working in various areas of marketing and sales and development of pharmaceutical products. And I personally, I would say in my mid-30s to late 30s, started to feel sluggish. I didn't have the energy that I had in my 20s. I would say that I was starting to gain fat, lose muscle. My sex drive or libido was pretty much totally diminished. And I didn't really know what was happening.
How old were you, Matt, when all these symptoms started to begin for you?
I would say it was probably about, I have three children, and after my third child was born, between work and the kids and everything else, it was probably in my mid to late 30s, and I'm 43 now, but it definitely affects different people at different times. And after doing a lot of research on the subject, I realized that like women who go through menopause, men go through something called andropause at a much earlier age than women go through menopause. And so that's what I uncovered, and I got some blood work done. I found a place in Miami, Florida, an anti-aging clinic in Miami, Florida, who specializes in hormone replacement therapy for men. And I got blood work done and found that a number of my different levels were off. And by restoring those levels back to what they were when I was in my 20s, I felt it changed my life. I felt significantly better. But I realized that there was nothing like that up in the Northeast or especially in the Pittsburgh area.
So you did travel all the way to Miami to find some way to get relief for what you felt really needed to be corrected. And I guess that's a point probably I want to bring up and accentuate a little bit, because as I look over the scene and as a medical doctor myself, what I find is literally a complete absence of the ability to find this kind of help in your backyard. It led you to go all the way to Miami. Is that an accurate description of the lay of the land around here? Are we so unique? Are we in a time warp here in Western Pennsylvania? What is it about?
Yeah, I think, I think that there are certain areas of the country like Florida, LA, even, potentially New York City area where they're much more advanced when it comes to anti-aging or hormone replacement therapy for men. And, there really is nothing in all these in-between areas. So I've traveled to Miami. I traveled to Connecticut. I really wanted to figure out what the situation was and why my primary care physicians weren't aware of this, or maybe they were aware of it, but they just didn't want to deal with this.
Let me just put a little bit of input, because I've been evaluating these men now for almost coming up a year, and I got some impressions as a medical doctor. I think this is more appropriate to bring in right now. And when I'm seeing these men, and you use the word andropause, and I think that is supposed to try to connote that we men go through something very similar to what women go through. They go through menopause. Well, men, as we age, we go through andropause. And my feeling on that, Matt, is that what I'm seeing, because I'm seeing men in their 20s, Matt. I'm seeing men in their early 30s. There's just no way that they're going through andropause. Something else is happening. Their hormonal status is shot, and they need to have it revived. But I'm not so sure it's the natural process of andropause. Something else is going on. I guess our message is, no matter what has led to it, the message we want to bring to them is that there is a way out. That's where ReGenesis comes in, and we're going to take a short break right now. We're going to cut the news. We're going to come back and talk about those men that probably should at least consider getting evaluated by us. But could you please take this first opportunity to tell those listening where they can find out more? And we're going to do this many times this morning, giving them that opportunity to get a hold of us. How do they do it, Matt?
Absolutely. So if you want more information, please go to our website at www.hrtpittsburgh.com, or give us a call if you want to have a discussion, if you want to talk to somebody live. Give me a call at our number, which is 724-510-0024 at ReGenesis HRT.
All right, that's our first opportunity to give them the information. So we're going to take a short break right now for news, folks. When we come back, for those men, and by the way, this show is for men only, who are those men that really could and should be looking to get the relief? I think it'll turn out to be an interesting discussion. We're with Mr. Matt Cestra. We will return in a few moments. Good morning, everybody. Welcome back once again to the Weekend Wellness Workshop. I'm Dr. Dennis Courtney with you today on this Saturday morning edition of our show. We're talking about a topic that just has been beckoning to be answered by many. There's a clarion call out there to save my life. And men, I know what you're going through. This is why we call this show for men only. There is a way to get back that which you have lost if you can just find somebody to identify it. Now, a new company that we literally created to fill that void is called ReGenesis. And a gentleman today, well, he knows an awful lot about how to revive and get back what you thought was lost. His name is Mr. Matt Cestra, and in the opening segment, he sort of introduced himself, and he's been doing and involved in the arena of pharmaceuticals for over 20 years. But in his 20s, noticed there was things not going right with himself. Now, Matt, are you still there with us, my friend?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay. I thought that it would be very appropriate. Men who I hope we've got their attention may need to feel soothed about how they're feeling and recognize what they feel is not normal and that something can be done to identify and correct it. So I thought it would really be appropriate that you and I discuss some of the more common symptoms that I'm finding in this very young population. It's caught me by surprise. I didn't think I'd be seeing this in the age group that I'm seeing it in, but a series of symptoms keep coming up over and over again, and I'll let you introduce them and maybe comment on them yourself. And men, if you're out there listening, if this sounds like you, put a little check mark next to these, because they are the key symptoms that Matt and I hear about each and every day. So, Matt, what are some of the most leading issues that have men ultimately contacting you and I about getting some help?
Absolutely. So, if you're starting to feel like you have a decrease in energy or an increase in maybe emotions like depression or increased body fat, decreased muscle tone and strength, even decreased libido or sex drives, some other things to consider, are erectile dysfunction. And so when I say erectile dysfunction, I don't mean that you just can't get an erection, but maybe it's not what it was when you were in your 20s. It could be a number of factors around that. And that's why I think, for you women out there who are listening, who have a husband or a significant other that you think might be feeling some of these changes, it would be important to let your significant other know that there are things that can be done for this, and that they should be evaluated at the very least. But those are some of the things. And right now, the way that it works is you go to your doctor, you're feeling a decrease in energy, your mood's changing, you feel depressed. They're going to put you on an antidepressant. They're not going to look further to try to uncover what's causing that. And it could be something that's very easily corrected by testing your hormone levels and restoring them back to what they were when you were younger and felt a lot better.
Well, Matt, I wanted to mention, as you were talking about erectile dysfunction and how, you may just have difficulty in maintaining that erection in a way that you did when you were 20s. I'm going to re-mention once again, I'm seeing men in their 20s telling me about their difficulties with erectile dysfunction, and that, as a medical doctor, completely blew me away. The numbers of men who are suffering from and undergoing this kind of intense, they feel really pressured, they feel inadequate, they feel a loss of dignity. It just starves you of an emotional life when at that young of an age you're afflicted with what you've associated with old age. And when you're in your 20s, Matt, you're not in old age. You're not anything
right
near old age.
Right.
I also should say that I'd have to say the two biggest symptoms that walk into my office as I evaluate these men is this issue of fatigue. I mean, these men can't move. And I say another term goes along hand in hand with this. I say early morning accentuated fatigue, and you should see the eyes lift up when I say that, as if to say to me, oh my God, he knows. Because these men will tell you they need a crowbar to get them out of bed in the morning. And this is not the typical, they know it's not typical even for them, but that's the way they're feeling, and they can't get moving in the day. I think another common symptom, and because it happens so often in my office, that I should mention it for the men who may be listening to us right now, and that is a mental clarity, or sometimes referred to as brain fog, or short-term memory loss. I find that it's almost inconceivable for the medical arena to be so acutely tuned into. This is a key symptom with these younger men in their 20s and 30s. Now, obviously, as advancing age occurs, that's a whole different phenomenon. But these two symptoms, I believe, are ones that we could absolutely and should be able to get turned around. Men, you just need to know that there's some place to go in order to do it. Now, let's talk maybe about the arena of, because I see an awful lot of the folks, the health-related people, the people that are working in the gym all the time and want to be able to perform in a maximal way. I see a swath of patients that come to me who are actually doing fairly well, except they have designs on doing even better in their avocation of being a health enthusiast. Am I getting this right? There's a group of people out there who are feeling not bad, but want to feel even better.
Right. I think what you're seeing with these guys that are in their 20s that are starting to feel this is, they're going to the gym, 5, 6, 7 days a week. They're burning their bodies out. They're using all kinds of supplements, or even potentially have experimented with underground steroids. We can pretend like that doesn't exist, but it does. And it's very common. And what they don't understand is whenever they take these types of things at a young age, it actually shuts off their ability to produce their own testosterone, and it doesn't come back. And so after they've experimented with these steroids in their 20s, they have completely shut off their ability to make testosterone for the rest of their life.
That's a pretty devastating consequence, and I want to tell you, it happens extremely frequently when I'm interviewing a patient, and I ask them, hey, have you ever done testosterone before? And literally, I think the most common answer I get is, oh, just last week. And when I say, well, what do you mean? They go, well, I bought a batch of black market testosterone out of the back seat of somebody's Chevy. I mean, that conjures up the images of these guys are really fighting and getting involved in some place they do not want to go, and they need to be managed by a medical doctor. So I wanted to draw that line. There are those who aren't in the exercise and health industry that are just feeling so lousy and they want to be helped. But then there are people who want to perform at a high level and they'd like to be helped. And I think the message that you and I want to get out to them is there's a role for medical management of both of those individuals, and to be doing so under the supervision, direct medical supervision, to keep them safe and to keep the safeguards in place so that nothing inappropriate happens to them is probably the point I feel as a medical doctor I really need to make. In both arenas, we will be able to help and get you to the objectives that you'd like, whether it's just feeling lousy so young. And I also want to mention one other thing as we're coming up to take a quick commercial break here in a moment. As a medical doctor, I probably, and I'm going to guess I'm not going to be too far astray when I say it, I probably prescribe testosterone for more men in Western Pennsylvania than any other doctor. Now, when I say that, the mean age of the men that I prescribed this to for the many years of being in medical practice has been around age 70. And when I was treating these men in their 60s and 70s, I was doing so because their muscular activity had gotten weak, and I'm worried in them about the big muscle, the heart muscle. And for that reason, I have been treating with testosterone for years and getting men's testosterone levels up to get their vital function back with the muscular system. Now I'm seeing a different grade of people, a group that I had never seen before, and they're scary to me. I understood the men in their 70s, but meeting so many men in their 20s and 30s and early 40s, that are in devastation because of the inability to function due to hormonal issues has put a new wrinkle on all this. And I just wanted to make sure that I put this all in its proper perspective. There are different ages where different needs need to be met by your medical professional, and unfortunately, none are being met by your medical professional. They're not even going there. So,
Dr. Courtney, with the internet, with the advent of the internet, these guys, they go on the internet. They self-diagnose. They know what their issue is. I had a guy this past week who went to 3 different doctors. He has low testosterone. He went to 3 different doctors in the Pittsburgh area to try to be treated. He's in his mid-40s, low testosterone, and none of the doctors would treat him. And after we had a discussion, he sent me an email and said, this morning after my doctor's appointment with the 3rd doctor who wouldn't treat me, I had no hope. And after talking to you, I have hope. And, you don't think that it affects these guys to this extent, but it does. They literally are losing hope because nobody will take it seriously or treat them.
Well, I'll share one other story with you, and I think you already know this story. Of the many men I have seen in the ReGenesis medical model, 3 stand out because one of them was from Cleveland, another one was from Baltimore, and the 3rd one was from Harrisburg. And I frequently ask as an opening question, geez, where are you coming from? And when these 3 men told me the various regions of the country they're from, I said, what the heck are you doing here? And then they proceeded to tell me, you know what? There's no doctor in my area that will do this for me. I had to travel to see you, and it just blew my mind. I never realized there was such a, there is a plot against dealing with men that it's palpable now. And I just wanted to let our listeners know, in their own backyard, in the sound of my voice, and you live in Western Pennsylvania, hope is nearby. And Matt, we're going to take a short commercial break. You want to give that website information and phone number information once again?
Absolutely. Visit www.hrtpittsburgh.com for the ReGenesis website. Or give us a call at 724-510-0024.
All right, there you have it. Look, folks, we're going to take a quick commercial break. When we come back, we're going to be talking about some of the nuances. There are safety concerns that, at a sophisticated level, need to be considered to make sure that when you're managed, it's done in the safest way possible. We're going to have Matt and myself discuss them. When we return, you're with the Weekend Wellness Workshop. We're talking about ReGenesis, and this is a show for men only. We'll be right back in a moment.
Talk Radio 1320.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I say good morning, men, and welcome back. This show is for men only. Today we're talking about how to regain a life thought to be lost, how to get you back and have you feeling like you did at an earlier time in your life. It may be pretty early for you right now. You may just be in your 20s and 30s. We're finding so many men who need a rescue earlier than I believed ever thought medically even necessary before. We're talking about a group now available to you in Western Pennsylvania referred to as ReGenesis, and Mr. Matt Cestra here today to help discuss the matter. Matt, are you with us once again?
I'm here.
Now, Matt, wanted to be sure to spend some time talking about the various hormones that really we're talking about here, because there are quite a few that get all the attention, and I believe that those who are listening to us right now, I think they've gotten an idea about the testosterone. You may want to make some additional comments about it, but let's talk about some of the hormones that that are going to be necessary in getting these gentlemen back feeling at 100% again, and I'll make the medical comments necessary as you kick it off. Fair enough?
Sure.
Go ahead. Take it away.
Right. So, some of the things that we test for at ReGenesis are, first we test your testosterone levels and make sure that they're where they're supposed to be. And they use a range whenever they test your testosterone to say whether you're normal or not. Now that range, it really is different for different men in order to feel well. But really they use that to determine whether your insurance will pay for it or not. So that's one thing to consider. The other thing is that we also look at your thyroid hormone to try to determine whether or not your thyroid is functioning properly, as well as your IGF-1 or your insulin-like growth factor. And the reason we look at these things is because they're also very commonly they're common hormones that are not where they're supposed to be, or they go down precipitously with aging. So when I say IGF-1, I mean your growth hormone levels, which is one of the most important hormones for when it comes to anti-aging and things like that. As well as your thyroid hormone, specifically here in Western Pennsylvania. And I'm sure Dr. Courtney can, he can talk to you a little bit more about the importance of thyroid and why thyroid dysfunction is such it's so important for patients here in Western Pennsylvania.
I should probably spend a little bit of time on that right now. We've done, even here on the Weekend Wellness Workshop, we've done a couple of shows already on thyroid. And when I did those shows, I really was trying to get my message out to the women because they really are thyroid afflicted. What I'm learning now, because I'm treating over 500 women for thyroid dysfunction, and I, up till recently, have treated very few men. Well, that number is really starting to change. And I can tell you that what I am seeing is a different age group between the men and the women. What I mean by that is women begin their need for thyroid and the symptoms that make their life miserable very early in life. They're literally in their teenage years and early adulthood. And in that particular time, men don't appear to suffer any ill consequence from poor thyroid function. But as we move into the upper 20s and 30 range, men are demonstrating the thyroid component stronger than I ever realized before. And for that reason, those two symptoms we talked about a moment ago, Matt, which were the exhaustion, extreme exhaustion, as well as mental clarity and brain fog, these two symptoms are tied more into thyroid than they ever were with testosterone. And I think that's the reason for our success, is because recognizing that, we're going to be able to get those two components back that we really couldn't have if all that was going to be done was deal with what I believe the public already intuitively senses. Oh, well, these people are going to deal with my testosterone. Yes, that's true. But the thyroid, because of the Western Pennsylvania plague, which we are in this goiter belt, scientifically, we got more thyroid disease around here than any other place in the world. And it's all weighing in, not just for the women that I've known about for years. It is really being represented in the men that I'm finding out about now, and an age group of men that was being ignored even by me. So I thought that was very appropriate to make a special point of. I should also say that a special mention needs to be made about these testosterone levels. I can't tell you how frequently patients sit in front of me and their doctors had ordered a testosterone level. And you're right about the range, Matt. There's a very wide range of normal, somewhere from the 200s all the way up to 1,100. That's a wide swath of over 900 points of something. It doesn't even matter what measurement. And there are men in their 20s and 30s that are just on that low edge of normal, 200 and the like. And their doctors, if they see them anywhere in the normal range, you can't even have a discussion with them about considering maybe helping them out with the testosterone. Instead, the doctor says, oh, no, you're already in the normal range. But the patient says, hey, wait a minute. I'm 25 years old. The normal range starts at 200. I'm at 220. I need to be treated, and the doctor won't. Matt, how often did that happen?
Yeah, it's so common, and I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that the insurance companies just won't pay for that's their way of getting around paying for the medications by saying, oh, well, you're within the normal range, so we're not going to pay for your medication. And as well, it's very time consuming to treat these patients. It takes a lot of hand holding. And, the doctor, if they can't treat you and prescribe you a pill in the 5 or 10 minutes you're in front of them, then, it's a little bit more than they want to take on if they have to talk to you for hours on the phone. And that's where we come in. We will hold your hand through the diagnosis, through the treatment, and ongoing, and it literally could take hours, a month, to get you where you need to be. And so you could be feeling symptoms at anywhere in the range. If you're not at the mid to high end of normal, you're probably feeling symptoms. And you might be saying to yourself, wait a minute, I go to my primary care doctor. I had low testosterone. He or she is treating me. And they may be treating you with various creams, gels, patches. And what I've seen most, since we've been doing this, is that these patients that are on these commercially available creams, gels, patches from the pharmaceutical companies, they tend to have very little benefit in increasing their testosterone levels. So if the person came in at 150, 200 nanograms per deciliter, they got put on this cream, gel, patch, they might be up to 400 if they're lucky. And that's still at the very lowest end of normal. And so for many, many years, there have been other forms available like injectable testosterone, which will get you to the highest end of normal and keep you there. And so, yes, your doctor may be treating you, but the question is, do you feel better? We don't treat numbers, we treat symptoms.
We treat people with disorders that correct their symptoms. And it's all wrapped up, ladies and gentlemen, and especially to the men out there, a group here in Western Pennsylvania. We're known as ReGenesis. It is a rebirth. It is possible to get back and take you to an age where things work so well. And you just need a doctor to be able to guide you through this maze and get you there and make sure that when you arrive there completely safe. Now, Matt, just going to take another quick news break quickly. The website and phone number once again, please.
Yes, it's www.HRT spell out Pittsburgh.com.
Okay, we're going to go. Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to the Weekend Wellness Workshop. We call it TW3. We are on Top Talk Radio here in Pittsburgh, 1320 WJAS. Our topic today has been, well, it's for men only, and the subject is ReGenesis, a rebirth, to get your hormonal status back to where it once was, and in so doing, return you to a life of function where things are a lot better than they may be for you now. And the ages, I guess we've already mentioned, of people who are afflicted, men who are afflicted, are really digging down deep into an age. It's even a surprise to me, a complete surprise to me as a medical doctor, and a medical community out there that is not comfortable with a conversation on this matter, no matter what the age, or at least that's my impression from what I hear and see thus far. And Matt, you've supported that pretty much in what you've been able to hear and see out there in the community. Fair enough?
Yeah, that's absolutely true.
All right.
Absolutely.
Now, we talked about the hormones that I think we use most frequently. We have the ability to use many more, but thyroid hormone, testosterone, a unique form of a growth hormone component that does allow us to avoid, and I want to make certain the public understands, we do not use synthetic growth hormone here. A unique substance allows us to have your body make its own natural growth hormone, and we can talk about that some other time. I just wanted to make sure that we cleaned that one up a bit. But to show that we have a level of sophistication, Matt, to keep people safe, I thought you should at least mention what some of the safeguards are that we never ignore while we're working with these men. And you've been involved with it so much. You've been very helpful in educating me. Why don't you take the time to educate the men who are listening to us today?
Sure. So if you're taking testosterone therapy or you get put on testosterone therapy by your doctor, the chances are they're going to put you on testosterone. It, rarely is going to be an injectable. It's probably going to be a cream gel or patch that gives you a minimal benefit. And if they do put you on an injectable, that's going to be the end of it, right? And so they're not going to look at the fact that testosterone in your body converts to estrogen, and it converts to dihydrotestosterone. And so when you hear all these horror stories in the media that have demonized the use of testosterone therapy over the years, some of the reasons are because in your body testosterone turns to estrogen. And when it turns to estrogen, you get certain side effects, like you hold water, you get abnormal breast tissue, or it turns to dihydrotestosterone, which can cause problems with your prostate, or can cause male pattern baldness, and things like this, right? So what we do is we look at your entire hormone panel, and when we treat you, we continue to do blood work throughout the process over the course of your treatment, and we make sure that your testosterone isn't converting too much to estrogen by using medications that are called aromatase inhibitors. A brand name would be Arimidex, or the generic name is anastrozole. And this is a drug that has been approved for use in the United States for breast cancer, for women with breast cancer. But all it does is it stops the testosterone from converting over to estrogen. We use a very low dose of this product, of this medication, so that it doesn't totally kill all of your estrogen, but what it does is it keeps your estrogen levels in the normal range. So we don't have you going into the high levels of estrogen that are going to cause some problems for you moving forward with your treatment. And then with drugs like Propecia, or finasteride is the generic name, we stop the testosterone from converting over to the bad testosterone, which is dihydrotestosterone. And in that manner, we protect you from having an enlarged prostate or from having to suffer male pattern baldness. So we really keep track of all the different hormone levels and what's happening when we put that testosterone in your body, so that it doesn't go into any of the danger zones with these other hormones that it converts to downstream in your body. You're not going to get that kind of treatment from your primary care physician or even from your urologist.
It's pretty embarrassing of a statement to make, but as a medical doctor, let me say I'm going to support that statement 100%. I think the reason that this is the case is there's such timidity and apprehensiveness on the part of the medical community. The very community that should be taking this issue on shies away from it, won't go there, and actually is fearful of going there so much they don't even understand the awareness that you'd have to avoid these potential problems. So it's probably, I guess in a way, a good thing that they're so timid about prescribing all these hormones, because I think there'd be a great likelihood that they could really blow it, Matt, and lead in men to having difficulties that should be recognizable and unavoidable. And it's that level of sophistication I think we want our listeners today and those who may be coming to see us in the future to understand. Matt, you're on this. You are going to take them by the hand. We're going to talk in a minute about what that process is. But the fact that we will not allow anything untoward to happen to you men is, I believe, a statement that I should make and I will make as a medical doctor, because all these avenues are going to be covered and the safety element is going to be maintained. Anything further to say on that subject?
Yeah, the only other thing I would say is that, if you see these commercials on about Viagra and Cialis, and, they say that, 50% of men over the age of 40 have some form of erectile dysfunction. And I just want to say, if you go to your primary care physician or your urologist, they're going to give you Viagra or Cialis
They'll
as
do
opposed
that.
to treating the underlying problem, right? So, if you're out there and you're saying, well, I don't have all of these symptoms, but I do have some form of erectile dysfunction, you've come to the right place if you come to ReGenesis, because we're going to look at all of your hormones and find out if, in fact, testosterone or low testosterone may be the cause of the form of erectile dysfunction that you're suffering from. And we're going to correct that problem as well as give you medications for your symptoms so that you can return to a normal sexual life with your partner. And we're not going to stop until you're fixed, until you're happy. And so I just want, I want to make that point too. It's not just about all the other symptoms. I mean, there's a huge sexual component to this, including your libido or desire. Those drugs, like Viagra and Cialis, aren't going to fix the fact that you have no desire whatsoever to have sex anymore with your wife. The testosterone levels are what's going to change that.
Very good point, because the emotional component, libido, of course, being a mental drive, is not going to be handled with these products like Viagra and Cialis. Erection, yes, but the emotion behind it, that's a whole other matter, completely different. So it's a good point that you brought up, Matt. I'm happy that you did. And for the men who are listening, this is all-encompassing, guys. And that's why we're saying ReGenesis may be the place for you to go to get the relief that you maybe were seeking but had no idea of where to go to. ReGenesis now out there enabling you to do it. So, Matt, what I want to do is I'm going to take a short break. When we come back, I've watched you now and how you interplay with all the men and who are involved with our program. And I thought it would be really appropriate for you to describe how, if a man was listening to us right now, how, number one, he could become involved, what he should do. And then would you walk us through that process of that first phone call and what leads to what and what leads to what? And then how much time these gentlemen can... I want you to tell it from your point of view. Okay, Matt?
Absolutely, yes.
All right, folks. It is for men only today. The subject is the rebirth. We call it ReGenesis, and it is here. It is with us. It is from Western Pennsylvania. And we got people traveling from all over the country to come to us. You have it in your backyard. Take the opportunity. We'll have Matt give you more website information when we return. We're going to take a short break, quick break, and come back with how is it that you get involved? Be right back in a moment.
Pittsburgh's Talk.
Hello, folks. We're back with a discussion for men only today on ReGenesis, a rebirth and a rekindling of the energy and enthusiasm that you've once had for life, men, and have lost it and really are bewildered out there on what to do about it. It's a disorder that is correctable, you will be hard-pressed to do it on your own, no matter how strong-willed you are. And I think you unfortunately, or maybe fortunately, have found out you need professional help, but where to get it. And that's what our discussion has been today. I believe the place to get it is to contact us at ReGenesis. We're here today with the gentleman who's been involved and started really to kick the whole thing off, approached me a number of months ago, and is involved with most of, not all, the men who become a member of ReGenesis. His name is Mr. Matt Cestra. Are you with us, Matt?
Yep, I'm here.
Now, Matt, I've watched you, and really I want to commend you on how well you do what you do to get these men in a comfortable position where they may be initially feeling awkward or uncomfortable. I will tell you that you quickly are able to alleviate those fears. For those listening to us right now, could you please just take it for a while and describe what you do? If you're out there listening, how do you get involved? And then if you make that call or make that contact, take us through the steps that they'll walk through to get them to the point where their particular problem has been reversed and optimized. Take it away, Matt.
Absolutely. So there are a couple of different ways that you can get involved with ReGenesis and become a patient. And, you could go to our website at www.hrtpittsburgh.com. And you don't have to be in Pittsburgh in order to become a patient. We have ways of treating you and getting you into the practice, even if you're outside of the Pittsburgh area. So go to the website and take our questionnaire about symptoms. That's one of the ways. And it'll give you an opportunity to put in your contact information so that we'll get in touch with you. The other thing is give us a call at 724-510-0024. When you give us a call or contact us via our website, I'll personally call you back and initially have maybe a 10, 15-minute discussion with you about your symptoms, what you're feeling, and I'll personally make an appointment for you with Dr. Courtney at one of his offices. He has an office in McMurray, PA, and he also sees patients in Monroeville, Pennsylvania. Currently, that's what we have. You'll go and you'll see Dr. Courtney, and he will, he'll talk to you and spend a good bit of time with you trying to understand what your symptoms are, what type of blood work we need to get. And the way that we've set it up is that the doctor, so if you were to go to Miami or somewhere else to be treated, a lot of these types of places that do exist outside of Pittsburgh will charge you anywhere between $250 to $800 just to get in the door, just for a doctor's appointment and blood work. And they don't accept insurance. So as a result, what we've done is we've made it easy for you to get in. We do not charge you for the initial doctor's appointment, and we do not charge you for the initial blood work. The only thing that you pay for, assuming that you qualify based on your symptoms and your blood work, are your medication. And so we'll set you up with an appointment with Dr. Courtney. He'll spend a good bit of time going over your symptoms and understanding what type of blood work he needs to get for you. He'll give you a prescription for your blood work, which you can go to any Quest and get the blood draw. You don't need an appointment. You don't need to fast for the hormone panels. And then we'll get your results within 1 to 2 business days. And then once we get the results, we'll give you a call back, go over your results with you, and I will hold your hand through the process and talk you through everything that Dr. Courtney recommends for you. And we can place your order for your medications literally the day that we get your blood work back. And within another 2 to 3 business days, we can have your medications to you and you can start your therapy. And again, throughout the whole process, I will be in contact with you, hold your hand. Now, it sounds like it's a lot of, it could take a lot of time. Initially, it takes a little bit of time to get everything correct and corrected. And, but after that, you're kind of empowered to do all of this yourself. You can call at any time, day or night, talk to me. I can get you in for an appointment with Dr. Courtney if you need to. But, this isn't a situation where once you get put on a medication, there's all kinds of red tape and you can't get a hold of your doctor again until your next appointment, or you can't talk to anybody. You're going to be, we're going to walk through this journey with you until you feel better.
No, I should mention, Matt, that the objectives of that we want to accomplish is that after I have an opportunity to assess and evaluate them and decide, okay, what hormones are we going to need to pursue in this particular individual's case, and then begin working a way to get to the established and final dose. And we're going to increase that dose to finally get you there. And we're going to be using, I'm going to say, two criteria. I'm going to be using two criteria. One is your symptoms must be gone. You came to us feeling a certain way. We're not done until we've corrected the thing that brought you here. Number two, we should see and use as one of our goals to take you to the upper limits of normal, and I want to accentuate the word normal. This is not a super hormone administration program that takes you outside the bounds of safety. As long as we are managing you within the realm of what's considered normal, you will not suffer any ill consequence. It will be completely safe and will maintain you at whatever levels of normal you achieve for however long you want to achieve them. And it's my guess, Matt, that we probably have made a friend and a relationship forever, or at least how's that worked out so far for you?
You mean with the patient?
Yeah, the patients that you've got established on
Sure.
this, and I know we haven't been in the game for all that long, but I see nothing but happy people that are willing to stick with us.
Absolutely. Yeah, we have very, very little turnover. Most patients who started with us, I would say 99-point-something% of the patients who started with us almost a year ago are still with us. And I get emails, texts, phone calls daily about how the patients' lives have changed and thanking us for, literally bringing them back to health. There's no better feeling than helping somebody like that.
Well, I think that the next question likely is knowing where we start. Most of these people are nobody's feeling good when we meet them. That's probably the easiest way to encapsulate where we start. Everybody's feeling lousy. If that's our starting point, could you give our listeners an idea of how long it usually takes before they start to feel something?
Sure. It depends on the symptom. I would say, within the first week or two, they start to get their libido back.
A week?
A week to 2 weeks. Yep, absolutely.
Right.
And what you have, a lot of men are on SSRIs, which are depression drugs or anxiety drugs. And, they're being treated for depression when in fact they might have low testosterone. And so those drugs have side effects. And some of those side effects have to do with their libido or their, or erectile dysfunction. And so, if that's where you stand, you could benefit from getting your levels tested of your hormones. So, I bring that up because, even if you're suffering side effects from a medication like an antidepressant, we could get your libido back within several weeks. and potentially correct your erectile dysfunction from those medications. And so that's important to mention. Now, probably around a month to 2 months, what you're going to notice is you're losing belt sizes. Your pants are getting big on you. You're losing that fat in the abdominal area that you get whenever you get into, whenever you're producing all this cortisol from stress, overwork, all this stuff sitting around the house. You start to lose the fat, and then you start to build muscle. And what we're doing is we're literally changing the composition of your body by bringing your hormone levels back to what they were when you were in your 20s. And so I would say, around a month onward, you start noticing a total change in your body composition.
About a month.
About a month is where it starts, and then it continues onward. If you work out and exercise regularly, it could be, you could start noticing changes in less than a month.
All right. I think that that for those out there who didn't even know that ReGenesis existed and didn't know there was a way to help alleviate their issues, that in fact, knowing that we're around, they need to just start the ball rolling. Go to that website at the HRTPittsburgh.com. Read the explanation of the program once again. Give them a call. You want to call and talk to Matt? He'll be extremely pleasant to you on the phone and really be interested in where you are and be able to assure you that there's a place that you can get to that you would, I think, really enjoy. That number, 724-510-0024. That's 724-510-0024. Now, Matt, what we're going to do is we're coming up to another break here, a news break. And I'm going to hold you over because I'd like to discuss a little bit about the feedback you've gotten from those who are in the club already. And I don't want to leave our ladies completely out because I think I'd like to ask you, is there a role? Can we help the ladies too? And of course, I already know the answer because I'm treating a number of them, but we spend so much time with the men. Can we spend a little bit of time with the ladies too?
Absolutely. So today's show, we're talking about men, but there's a role for women as well, and we're treating a lot of women as well.
All right, folks. Today is the launching, at least to make you aware, of a program in Western Pennsylvania referred to as ReGenesis. It literally means rebirth, and that's really what happens here. Men who have aged, or at least maybe not chronologically, but emotionally and physiologically, are old men, can have their life brought back and revived once again. So we're going to take a short break for news, to return and continue our discussion with Mr. Matt Cestra. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back once again to the Weekend Wellness Workshop. I'm Dr. Dennis Courtney with you today. And with the launching of a new offering here in Western Pennsylvania, we refer to it as ReGenesis. It is a rebirth for men who have are just not feeling right. They're feeling very lousy, and they're, in many cases, too young to be feeling that way. They're going to be ignored, and they have been ignored by their medical doctors who just don't quite understand the role that they can play. I can't apologize enough for them, but let's just say there's a friendly face waiting for you. You've been listening to Mr. Matt Cestra today, literally a gentleman who will take your hand and guide you through the various steps to get you where you need to be. Now, Matt, I asked you to come back for this holdover segment because there are a couple loose ends I wanted to tie up. Are you still there with us, Matt?
I am.
I wanted to get a couple final questions out of the way. I think they're really appropriate. You've now been working for many, many months, coming up close to a year, not quite, but close to a year. And I was interested in hearing if you could share with us some of the feedback that you're getting from the men that you are managing, And I know it's only a year, but I just got a feeling after knowing you as I do, it doesn't matter if we had this conversation in 5 years. These men are going to be right there with you because you just take so much care and concern with them. And I'm sure they share how well they're doing with you. What have they shared with you, Matt? Tell us about them.
Absolutely. So, I've had men who told me that, that they're literally, that they've become introverted. Their personalities had changed. And now that they're on treatment, it's brought them back out again. And they feel so much better. Their significant others and spouses have commented on, how their memories and the mental fog has lifted, and their personalities are back to what they used to be. It's literally saved marriages, changed sex lives. They have the desire to get back in the gym and start working out again. They've totally changed their body composition. I literally on a daily basis have people thanking me, for introducing them to you, and, saying how much, time and effort that you've put into this, in helping them. Because what they're used to is spending 5 minutes in front of their doctor, kind of being put off and, not really being taken seriously when it comes to these types of things. And so, it's just constant positive feedback.
Well, I will say it's been a very enlightening year for me. There's an aspect of a medical need out there that really I was unaware of. I have been completely blown away with the kinds of men that I've been meeting and the symptoms and just the terrible set of circumstances they're living with. And it's nice to be able to be a part of getting their lives back for them. And I know, because I know my medical colleagues very well, and I know that, as nice as they are and as intelligent as they are, they're not paying the attention that they really need to here. And I had to have my own eyes opened. I thought myself a pretty well-rounded and open-minded individual. Well, my mind's been opened all the more this year with a group of people I didn't really even know exists, but do exist, and I'm happy to play a role in helping them get their lives back. And I want to thank you, Matt, for being the person that you are to bring this concept to me and allow me to participate in it, literally to get the ball rolling, to get their lives back for them. I also wanted to make sure that we ended with one other element, and that is I've been talking since the beginning of the show about the fact that, today's show was for men only. And men needed to know that there's a medical community out there that will address their issues, and I think that was time well spent. But I also wanted to throw out for you and have an opportunity myself to comment on the ladies, because believe it or not, ladies, we treat a whole heck of a lot of you, too, under the rubric of ReGenesis. Matt, talk a bit about the women. There is a place for them here. They can feel just as good as they need to feel, too. What have you come across in this short period of time with a number of women that we are managing?
Absolutely. So, with women, the symptoms that they tend to, a lot of the same symptoms. They lose their sexual drive, they gain fat, they lose muscle, they've turned to all these various supplements that they get at the supplement store. And, unfortunately, the supplement industry is not regulated by the FDA. And so a lot of these supplement companies make all kinds of claims. I'm not going to mention the names of any products, but, women are taking products that are supposedly increasing their growth hormone levels and is going to make their skin flawless and is going to, restore them back to a younger age. And unfortunately, there are no clinical trials to show this. They're not FDA approved. We don't know what's in these supplements. And, when in fact you can go or come to ReGenesis, be treated by a medical doctor, have your hormone levels assessed, be diagnosed, and be treated with FDA-approved medications that actually work. And you know what's in them, and you're not being scammed, paying hundreds of dollars for some supplement that doesn't work. So really, and women take their health much more seriously than men, and are much more proactive. So if you're going to be so proactive, I would say, go onto our website, take the questionnaire for women, see if some of the symptoms that you're experiencing are the ones that we can address within ReGenesis, because I think you're going to be very surprised.
The issue with the ladies, it was the ladies who taught me a number of years ago how important the thyroid was in getting their lives back, because they've been feeling lousy too. They've been feeling real lousy for a long time, and they weren't getting a fair shake from their doctors. And let me tell you why. The doctors, because of hearing their complaints, thought, you know what, maybe it's your thyroid, ma'am, so let's get a set of blood work on you. And what happens is that blood work, when it returns to the doctor's office and it shows them to be in a normal range, the conversation stops. And you can't have a discussion about replacing thyroid hormone. What I've had to learn, and really it's been the trump card that I've played so often, is you cannot trust the lab test to be able to reflect whether your thyroid is functioning or not. There's a myriad of symptoms that you can trust. And ladies, there's relief around the corner for you too. And I've known about you for years. The men, they've surprised me. The ladies, you initially surprised me about 10 years ago. And we've been helping you return to your level of full functioning ever since. So
right. If you're a woman and you're on Synthroid or levothyroxine and your lab numbers are normal and you still feel terrible, you are losing hair, you have no energy, you just feel terrible still, despite the fact that your lab levels are normal, you need to come and see Dr. Courtney.
Thank you very much, Matt. I believe that those lab tests, I don't know why this lab is so inaccurate, but once you give it up as the determiner as to whether you'll treat, you move into an arena where you can help a lot of people, and that's really been the story here in my office, in my practice for many, many years now. So, ladies, we don't really want you to think that ReGenesis is not for you. It is for you. If you feel lousy and your husband feels lousy, the two of you need to either do one of two things. Either head to the website at hrtpittsburgh.com or give Matt a call at 724-510-0024 and get that ball rolling. Let's see how quickly we can get you back and return you to normal function. Matt, give you the opportunity. Any closing remarks you want to make as we get to the end of our show today?
Yeah, I would just say, don't run to the supplement store to try to fix your hormonal imbalances. Give us a call. Go to our website. Take the quiz. It doesn't cost you anything. Come see Dr. Courtney. Be assessed, and see if we can help you. Because I can tell you that we have 100 patients over the last year that we've been able to help significantly.
And that number is growing, Matt.
Yeah, absolutely. And you don't need to fly to Florida. You don't need to, fly to LA. These latest and greatest anti-aging treatments are here in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, thank you so much. Matt, it's been a wonderful year so far. Look forward to 2016. And by the way, Matt, plan on bringing you back here in the Weekend Wellness Workshop to do a ReGenesis report very frequently. We need to keep on coming back and letting the men and our ladies know that we're out there to help. Okay, Matt?
Great. Thank you for having me, Dr. Courtney.
All right, there you have it, folks. We have now launched. There's been a rebirth here in Pittsburgh. It's called ReGenesis, and you can find out more about it at the website at hrtpittsburgh.com or 724-510-0024. Now, we're going to take a quick break and come back, and we're going to finish off our show today with an eye report. That's another very highly specialized program that we offer here, and we've been doing so for quite some time under the rubric of another organization known as the Pittsburgh Eye Protocol. Be right back in a moment with the Pittsburgh Eye Report.
Pittsburgh's Talk Radio.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back. Once again, the final segment, the gun lap of our show today here on the Weekend Wellness Workshop. I enjoyed spending just an inordinate amount of time this morning on launching a very brand new program. You know, it's in keeping with our philosophy here. We do things that are one of a kind. You cannot find them anywhere, and the fact that they all are under one roof makes us feel awfully good about bringing you a message of what those new things are each and every week. And we hope that you continue to pay attention to us on the Weekend's Wellness Workshop, which is here each and every Saturday and Sunday, 10 to noon on Pittsburgh Talk Radio, 1320 WJAS. Today, I think we're going to establish a new standard part of our weekend report to you, because we do so much with eyes that I feel that we have to have a special little part about the eyes each and every time we do a show. So let's make this the first installment of what we're going to call the Pittsburgh Eye Report, that comes straight to you from the Pittsburgh Eye Protocol, that you can read about and learn more about at pittsburgheyeprotocol.com. Now, we are the northern affiliate of the Healing the Eye and Wellness Center located in Fort Myers, Florida. And we are the hand-picked affiliate of the Edward Condrat 3-day eye treatment program that we offer here in our Pittsburgh office. And we've been doing so since July of 2013. Folks out there, if you suffer from very serious eye disorders which are claiming your vision, and they come under certain names, and they're pretty scary names too, like things like glaucoma, or macular degeneration, or diabetic retinopathy, or Stargardt's, or retinitis pigmentosa. These terms are synonymous with fear provocation because, unfortunately, there is no treatment for any of those diseases to get your vision back by the conventional medical community. It's almost incredulous to think that this medical machine of ours is powerless to help you restore your vision. But I'll tell you what, our battle cry, our banner, is that we want to restore your lost vision now. And we have to thank Dr. Edward Condrat for the ability to do that with his now very famous 3-day eye treatment programs. The Ed Condrat story, well, that's been told many times here on the show. He, of course, is a Western Pennsylvania guy born and raised, and a doctor with a very lucrative and busy practice here in Pittsburgh, where as a conventionally trained ophthalmologist, he treated his patients conventionally too, and he did all the treatments that you would consider to be the treatments that eye doctors do. Unbeknownst to the people at the time that he was treating, he had two practices going on in Pittsburgh simultaneously. There was the practice downtown that all the conventional treatments were being used, while at the same time, there was another practice in Mount Lebanon where all of the alternative practices, the non-drug treatment approaches, the non-surgical treatment approaches. And what he learned, and he's told the story many times here on the air, is that that alternative practice was making turnarounds that he could not achieve with his conventional training. And it was that awareness that made him just chuck it all in. About 15 years ago, he took his whole dog and pony show to Phoenix, Arizona, and it was there where he developed his now famous Dr. Ed Kondrot 3 Day treatment programs. These are programs that meet people on a Monday, and 3 days later send them back home with substantial improvements in their retinal diseases. Once again, diseases that have no real treatment available for them in the conventional medical world. All done without the use of drugs, all done without the use of anything invasive, no surgery whatsoever. Folks, it's a turnaround story that I've been very happy to become a part of since, well, really meeting Ed and helping him with his treatment programs over 6 years ago. But since July of 2013, have been handling those programs here now myself each and every month at my office here in McMurray. Now, the very next program that will be offered here that you'll be able to participate in will be in February. It'll be February 15, 16, and 17. If you think you'd like to learn more about it, to become a member of that group, and we keep this to very small groups. I do no more than 5 patients in any group and have to cut it off if the 6th person calls. But we're taking new entrants and applicants for our February program that's going to be held on February 15, 16, and 17. That's February 15, 16, and 17 here in my office in McMurray. If you think you'd like to learn more about that program, a couple things to do. Number one, why don't you go ahead and go to our website at pittsburghiprotocol.com. Number two, you can find out the answer to specific questions by dialing our Pittsburgh Eye Protocol phone number at 724-993-0500. Now, if you happen to call during a time of the day where Sarah is busy, you just leave a message, and I promise you she will call you back, and you'll get your questions answered. That's either going to pittsburghiprotocol.com and reading our website, or call 724-993-0500 and get specific questions answered about the up-and-coming program. We hold these programs on the first day, and we do assessments to find out where we start with your particular vision issues and be able to quantify what level of vision loss you come to us with. Then, and we send you to our eye doctor, Dr. Lisa Bowen, who do the same thing. Then 3 days later, after we've completed 3 days of pretty aggressive treatment from 9 a.m. to 4 in the afternoon, we then reassess. I do my reassessments. Dr. Lisa Bowen does hers. And it's at that point where we find out how much improvement, how much return, how much restoration of your vision loss has occurred, at least in those first 3 days. And we can report that over 95% of the people that do the 3-day treatment program have substantial improvement in their vision. Now, I know it sounds hard to believe, but you're just going to have to trust me and go find out more. We can have and let you talk to many of our graduates who continued to treat themselves at home, and we reevaluate them at 3 months, 6 months, and a year, and they continue to do even better over time. But you got to start the process, and to start it, you have to know the process even exists. Now, by the way, something brand new happens this month, starting this month, and I know this show reaches, I get calls from London, I get calls from all over the country, from people who hear the show, and I wanted to let you know out there, if you're outside the Pittsburgh area, starting this month, I'm going to be doing the programs at Dr. Kondrot's office in Florida. If you think that's more geographically pleasing to you, I know that geologically it may be a little more pleasant with respect to the weather. If in fact you'd like to be a part of it, the phone number you should call and talk to Nicole to become part of the monthly 3-day treatment programs that I'm going to be offering in Florida at Dr. Kondrat's office while he takes a sabbatical. The number is 352-588-0477. That's 352-588-0477. And so I'm really happy to have been asked by Dr. Kondrat to run his programs in Florida while he's on sabbatical. By the way, it should be noted that whether he is there in the flesh or not, he manages each and every patient. No matter where he is, we send him the records so that he can assess and put his 2 cents in for what he thinks about the case. Plus, he's the one that programs the microcurrent devices to enable you to get the optimal microcurrent program, an electronic device that really, I believe, does the major bits of turnaround. He's involved with each and every case up to his eyeballs, and we're happy to have him aboard, and pretty proud by the fact that he thought enough of me to run his programs for him. So, folks, we enjoyed bringing you our 2 new offerings, one brand new called ReGenesis today. Hope you enjoyed it. Remember, to find out more about ReGenesis, you can go to the website at HRTPittsburgh.com or 724-510-0024, or the Pittsburgh Eye Protocol for those of you with the vision issues. That number is 724-993-0500, or the PittsburghEyeProtocol.com. Want to look forward to meeting you next weekend back here at TW3. Until then, this is Dr. Dennis Courtney saying so long.